Hello and good evening, everyone. This is Bashir Lucas Samson Lukman. You to this discourse, where we discuss topics, controversial topics that we have varying opinions on it. So tonight we would be discussing should be Niqab be allowed? Should Niqab be allowed in public institutions? Join us. Okay, so take over for some minutes. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Hello, Lucas. Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everyone.
Yes, I
Um,
can. I can.
for f- okay, thank you. For a few minutes, I'm going to be the anchor of this wonderful program. I believe Lucas will join me very, very soon. Um, I believe our discussants they will join us very soon. We have a very important topic today. So, without saying much, my own name is Adekunle Adegboye. So, the topic we are going to be discussing today uh, is should niqab be allowed in public institution? This is a topic where we are going to have our intellectuals, our people, our resource persons who knows much about this. They are going to talk about it. They are going to enlighten us about it, the constitutional aspect of it, the moral aspect of it. So the topic again is should niqab be allowed in public institution? So that's it. I think we have a lot of discussants. I'm expecting Mr. Benjamin Olabisi, if I'm correct with the name. Afais is possible is going to join us also, and host of others are going to join this wonderful discussion. Should niqab be allowed in public schools? A couple of days back, I believe most of us we are aware, possibly, of what transpired in nursing school in Ladoke Akintola University, where uh, a niqabi, a sister wearing a niqab, was naked. Let me use that word. And niqab was removed under the pressure and directive of a professor who was tutoring them. As I think the oath saga came to open during that time. Now we are hearing about FUNAB at the Federal University Abeokuta, where niqabists, the Muslim ladies that wears niqab, are not allowed to enter. So I think this issue of niqab is something we need to discuss about. And for someone that is just joining this program, some people I think they don't know the difference between a niqab. Even though I'm not an expert in the field, so the niqab is the dress that requires the covering of face. Yes, that one that includes the covering of face by the Muslim ladies. So that is niqab. So should niqab be allowed in our public institutions? Public institutions includes the universities, the public universities, public schools, public offices, and the rest. So that's just the scope of the topic. And as we await our intellectuals, the experts in the field, they are going to enlighten us. They are going to come up with their position, and they make us know what does the Constitution say about it. Okay, so it's very important. Briefly, without taking size, even though I'll be the interim anchor for just few minutes before Lucas will take back the mic. I think Section 38, Subsection 1 and Subsection 2 of Section 38 of the Nigerian Constitution makes mention of important thing about the freedom of religion, and for you to manifest it. Manifest it is very important. Please, we need to underline that. Very important. And also the Article 18 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, also mentions something and guarantees the right to freedom of religion unconditionally. Unconditionally. Those little backgrounds, I will be giving the pointer to someone that I know where this brother stand on this issue. But nevertheless, uh, we're expecting our discussant, and very soon the mic will be passed to the regular anchor, Lucas Bashir. All right. So I told you my own name is Adekunle, the son of Adegboye. So a graduate of Ladoke Akintola University. Presently a teacher of history. Yes, a teacher of history and geography. Okay, so okay, so as we expect our people, so that's it. Another thing that I would like to mention here is that earlier I mentioned about what transpired in Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, even though the Muslim bodies in that community, they have waded into the action, and the dust are settled by now. They have intervened, and the Professor Ajibade has actually uh, apologized to the family of the lady, the Muslim lady, uh, whose niqab was removed in the public. I think we have reached a point on that particular issue. But what we are discussing today, without losing grip of the topic, is should niqab be allowed in the public institution? I'm just trying to chip in what the latest about the Lautech issue is settled already. The professor in charge that made that error, made that bad error, has actually apologized, and I believe the issue has been settled through the intervention of Muslim leaders in that environment. So the next point of action is FUNAB. FUNAB. What is happening in FUNAB about this niqab issue? And also, we are hearing about the OAU teaching hospital. How this one is not even about the niqabis. The hijabites are made to sign one treaty before they are allowed to manifest their constitutional right. All right, I'm just chipping in this. So as we wait for our intelligentsia, our discussant. Once again, the topic is what? Should niqab be allowed in public institutions? Please, that's the topic. I'm just trying to like uh, chip in some things before our discussant join the program. Um, okay, I was talking about uh, the latest happening in the OH teaching hospital. I think this place, I've heard a lot of stories in even hospitals, public hospitals, the government hospitals, where aside the Nkobi, even the hijabites, those people that are putting on even the small hijab, they have been persecuted uh, about this. I don't know what is happening. Most of these things are not recorded in the northern part of the Nigeria, but in the southern part, it's unfortunate that the Muslimas, the Muslim ladies, they are experiencing all this. Okay, but so today again, should niqab be allowed in the public institution? For someone that is listening, for someone that is wondering about the difference between the niqab and the conventional hijab that we know, the niqab has an additional face covering. Additional face covering. That's niqab. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so I believe this discussion is going to be very, very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Earlier today, I've stated the some of the important sections of our constitution, section 38, section 38, subsection 1 and subsection 2, which are allows freedom for it, and that it can be, you can manifest your religion, you can preach and manifest it. And also, I mentioned about Article 18 of ICCPR, which is International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which guarantees the right to freedom of religion unconditionally. While we await our discussant, um, is Lucas hearing me? Lucas? Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm back. Okay, so that's it. So earlier, I mentioned that most of these persecution, quote and unquote, of the Ijabite or Niqabist that is more pronounced in the southern part of Nigeria is hardly of the country. I don't know what is responsible for this happenings. Maybe one day we are going to discuss this topic also. Why the prevalence of persecution of hijabists and the Niqabists in the southern part, unlike in the northern part of Nigeria? It will also be an interesting topic, but don't forget the topic we are going to be discussing today, like I mentioned, should niqab, the Muslim dress that requires face covering, be allowed in public institution? Be allowed in public institution. That's what we are going to be discussing today. Uh, Mr. Benjamin Olabisi, if I'm correct. I'm not sure he's on. Yes, Mr. Lucas Bashir, are we good
Uh,
to go?
okay, yeah, we are good to go. Yeah, the speakers are coming. So before they come, I think we can start the conversation. So
Mm,
Malam Ali Musa is coming. We have
mm,
is also coming as well. And
mm.
yeah, Benjamin Adebisi would be coming. And
BBC, okay.
also Astro before we get to the end of this session. Also,
Mm,
now I am reading. So before they come, good evening, everyone. I'm
good
Bashiluka
evening.
Samson Lukman. But before they come, I think we can also start or
Yes.
move the conversation forward.
Mm,
So I
mm,
am seeing some comments from our viewers. And of course, yes, we will take questions, we will take contributions and suggestions from
mm.
everyone as well. So if I were to ask you, Adegbe, what do you think? Yeah, I think, was it 2 weeks ago? So it was
Yes.
in the news, it went quite viral that
Mm.
one professor at Lautech,
Mr. Professor Ajibade Lawal.
it was, I saw that it was not the one that removed the niqab, but
Mm,
from the news or from what happened,
mm.
it
You are
was
you are
evident
skipping.
that at least he really played a big. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely. I can
Yeah,
hear
are
you.
you with me?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so the professor anyway at this was whether directly, he was either directly or indirectly involved in that.
Mm,
And so after that drama, it also we also saw another from
mm,
Funab. I think I have a very good idea of what happened of that drama in
mm,
2019, I think, in Funab,
mm,
when they had this big notice board, and then they said
mm.
indecent dresses are not allowed in Funab.
Subhanallah.
And then they had someone, with a funny haircut, and also someone in a miniskirt, and funny dresses anyway. And so they included the cover as
Mm,
well, which got the Muslims quite angry. So this
mm,
year, I think about last week or 2 weeks ago too. So we saw
Hmm.
that someone who was said to have been a visitor to the school was not allowed
Hmm.
to enter the school because she was in the niqab, and it was also
Hmm.
said that the imam of the school, who also is a professor, does not really
Hmm.
buy the idea that students should use the niqab on the campus.
Nicole.
But that
Hmm.
should not be mistaken for those who say that the imam was the one that made the order. Our investigation
Hmm.
revealed that it wasn't him, but he does
Hmm.
not really just buy the idea. So if I were to ask you, Adebuye, you are well, a Muslim, of course, as much as I know. So yeah, what's your position
Alhamdulillah.
on the hijab or the niqab being used in you know um, public institutions?
Thank you, Mr. Lucas. Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim. And the event, let me start with that
Did
of
you hear my
la-
last statement?
I heard you narrated the story of Funab and the position of the school imam. Is that correct? Yes, let me just state my position. I think I stated it earlier, but it's important for me to reiterate and say it again. As a Muslim, uh, under no condition will I be happy will I be happy if a Muslimah is embarrassed in public. That kind of embarrassment, I'm talking with respect to what actually happened in Lautech. The the embarrassment was huge. It's as if you are telling someone to take off his or her shirt in public. Um, Find the professor at the epicenter of this has apologized, but the first day that I saw that video when the face covering of the niqabist was removed, my blood was boiling. I won't lie to you, it was boiling. I was sweating profusely. I don't know. I can't just. I couldn't. It was a bad experience anyway, but alhamdulillah, I think we thank God that they have already settled the matter. And the latest one about FUNAB, that one is also disheartening. And I think, hello, are you hearing me?
Ah, yes. Sorry, Adegboye. We have
Oh,
Barrister
okay.
Akim Ohojeri.
Mm,
This is first
good.
time on the open space of discourse. Good evening, Mr. Akim.
You're welcome, Mr. Akim.
Can Mr. Akim
We
hear
can't
us?
hear
I
you,
think
sir.
he's on mute. Okay.
He's talking, but
Mr.
we can't
Akim,
hear
your
him.
audio is on mute.
Oh, good evening. Salam
Okay.
alaikum. Sorry, the
Yeah,
mic was
Wa
off.
alaikum salam. You're welcome.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
good
we
to be
have
here.
okay. Please, this is Mr. Akim's first time. It's barista. It's your
Hmm.
first time here, and you're welcome. So today for this session, we are discussing the niqab. Should niqab be
Hmm.
allowed in public institutions? So before you came, I also welcoming Malam Musa Aliyu. He's a sheikh. I think he's enough. Um, so we are discussing should the niqab be allowed in public institutions. I think we've had people who keep discussing that topic. Some say we should, some say we should not for security reasons and for other reasons best known to everyone depending on the position that they hold. So tonight we try to discuss that. So before you came, I was asking Adegboye what he thinks about the niqab being used in a public institution. So Adegboye would like to hear from you firstly.
All right, thank you. Welcome, Mr. Akim and Patriot Musa. You are welcome to the program. So as I was
Yeah,
saying, I told yes, my position is very clear on this, uh, and I told you I cited some sections of the Nigerian Constitution, Section 38, subsection 1, and subsection 2, which guarantees freedom of religion and for us to manifest it. Please underline that, manifest it. I'm not a lawyer, but at least the Constitution is written in English language, which alhamdulillah I think I can read. Um, So
Yeah.
I think the niqab issue comes under this manifest, quote and unquote. You can manifest your religion. Another thing, another constitution, I think we have a lawyer in the house, and this is not a constitution, an article 18 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, also guarantees the right to freedom of religion unconditionally. Please note that unconditionally. So those are the two things I will premise my own point on that. Niqab should be allowed in public institution, and those citing security reason. We have seen situation in this country where people were robbed using wearing military fatigue, even wearing police uniform. So because of that, are you saying we are going to what? Cancel police uniform, or we stop our soldiers from wearing their uniform, their fatigue also? So that's not enough reason. If they want to check a niqab, someone that is wearing niqab, they can get a female to check the person. And I think that's okay. So niqab should be allowed in our public institution. That's where I stand. Lucas, are you there? Hello? Hello? Niqab,
Okay, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me now?
yes, yes, absolutely. I can
Okay,
hear
sorry, I
you.
was on mute. Yeah. Thank you very much for your contribution. We got that. So I'm trying to get in touch with Benjamin at ABC as well as Ashra.
Hmm.
Okay, before we move on to Barrister Ido Hakim Ohojeri, we have Patriot Musa Aliu with us here. Malam, good evening. Assalamu alaikum to you.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Good evening. How are you, sir?
I am very fine, sir. And how are you and your family? So,
Please, my
yeah,
regards
we
to
have the topic. Thank you. So we have the topic: should Niqab be allowed in public institutions? So what's your take?
Nam. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. We seek the protection of Allah against the evil misguidance of Satan, their cause, in the name of the Almighty Allah, the most compassionate, most merciful. We thank the Almighty Allah for giving us the opportunity to have gathered here again to re-hear our views, also share our own opinions and understanding with regards to enshrined or established fundamental human rights that we don't even need to tell the government whether it should be allowed or it should not be allowed. Just as my brother here have stated clearly, and I believe the barrister in the house is already feeling cold and is already smiling from his mind, which I believe his opinion will not be different from what the brother has already postulated now. And every patriotic Nigeria, in fact, we're supposed to have passed this level of asking whether some people should be allowed, if gay people will be allowed to practice their own, way of life, if prostitutes will be allowed to operate openly in the air, in the market and other places, gambling, prostitution, if bribery that is openly, being practiced and nobody is harassing those that are, except few ones that are, unlucky to be found and guilty, and so many of them. What about fundamental human rights that is written internationally? This is something that if other countries should hear us bragging about it, they will just be laughing at us. That Nigeria, that is, people are looking at Nigeria as the giant of Africa, and we are still battling on whether to allow people to dress according to their own belief. I think by now we have so many religions in the world, and as a brother has just quoted section 38, which is not the only section that talk about fundamental human right, but that one is specifically for religion. It says everyone should be having their freedom to preach his religion either in public or in private. So if you choose to go naked thinking that is your religion that allows you to go naked, I think we should give this constitution some respect by allowing some people to practice their own belief the way their own belief dictated for them. Islam says women should dress decently, and if a woman feels that she is going to be like a fitna to people, meaning some people will be threatened by her appearance, it's better she should cover herself so that the devil will not have the chance of causing a lot of evils. Now, some people are trying to obey the commandment of God, while others that are not ready to obey God, and they are not happy to see some people also obeying God. They want to discourage those that are obeying God so that there will be total breakdown of lawlessness as far as God's commandments are concerned. So to me, it's not even a question of whether it should be allowed or not. If countries are allowing different fundamental nonsense human rights, I don't want to be mentioning those groups, but we all know that there are things that are clearly against our religions. Dominant religions in Nigeria are Christianity and Islam, even the traditional religions. There are some things that are even allowed which are against even the traditional religion, against Islam and against Christianity. Not to talk of niqab that is established in Islam. A woman has right. It's not compulsory in Islam, but anyone who wants to use it, I think there is no question or barrier as to whether to allow women to go on niqab or not. This is their right, and they should be given that freedom to establish and exercise their right. This is just my introductory note, and I believe the barrister will support us and any other well-meaning Nigeria that mean well and that mean good for Nigeria will support this move, that nobody should be harassed because of their intention to practice their religion or to appear the way they want to appear. We have people that are going naked in the streets, in the marketplaces, in public institutions, and we have people that no matter how you want to appear, as far as it is not against any form of constitutional provision, I think we don't even need to come here and be discussing whether to allow people to practice their religion or faith or not. This is something that is already established, and all of us have agreed and sworn by the Almighty God to protect and preserve the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Therefore, this is my take, and this is the take of all Nigerians that meant good for Nigeria, and this is what everyone should promote. Anybody that is seen harassing people because of their religious appearance, that is the enemy Nigeria is looking at, and that's the enemy that we are all looking for. Let us deal with that person. Let him realize that he is the evil that is bringing Nigeria backward instead of them to promote peace. As to the question of security, which my I know there are people that will be raising those questions. Let me just say one or two things. Now, what about those schools that are not wearing hijab, that are not wearing hijab, yet security
Can Mala Musa
breaches
hear
are
me? Mala Musa, hello.
yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I actually forgot I was supposed to give each speaker 5 minutes. You understand? So that
No
we can
problem, no
properly
problem. Thank you
allocate
very
our
much.
time.
We will
Yeah.
continue on that.
So,
Thank you
so I
very
think
much.
exactly. I think we also have Amos here with us. Amos is a Christian, so we would like him to speak after Barrister Ido speaks. So, Barrister Ido, this is your first 5 minutes, sir.
Hello, Salaam alaikum, sir. Please, I don't know if you can just give me a
Salam,
minute.
sir.
Let me switch my device. Switch from I'm using my
Please
phone
tell Musa
and
to
it's very
mute,
low. I can't
please.
hear clearly.
Please tell Musa to mute his mic, please. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he has done that.
Okay, so Barrister Kim, we are with you.
Is it Mr. Amos's mic?
Okay, I think no, I think it's
Hello,
Barrister
Mr.
Kim's.
The noise is coming from somewhere.
Yeah, I think it's Barrister
Hello,
Kim's.
Mr. Bashir.
The-
Okay, Barrister Kim, we can hear you. Okay, I think before Barrister Akim resolves his internet, I think we just take 5 minutes from Amos. Okay, so Mr. Amos, yeah, so we are discussing should the niqab be allowed in public institutions. So, what is your take, sir? 5 minutes, sir. Can Mr.
Is
Amos
Mr.
hear me?
Amos with us?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, so yeah, we are asking should the niqab be allowed in public institutions? Yeah, you have 5 minutes, sir, for your first round of
Mhm.
Mr.
You mean
Amos?
me? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Assalamu
Mr.
alaikum.
Amos, yes.
Yes. What to?
I don't know you're talking to me.
Excellent.
Well,
Okay, Barrister,
uh,
go. I think we should let Mr. Amos use his 5 minutes, possibly. Please, sir.
Okay.
good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The issue of this niqab or something, I don't really think it should be a big issue. People should be allowed to use it if they so wish. Okay. So if it doesn't have any effect on other people, I think they should just be allowed to use it. That's just it.
Okay, so Mr. Amos, you do not have any problem with
No,
Muslim
no, no,
women, if they are Christian,
no.
using covering their face and their
Though,
body.
though I would have preferred the use of hijab, I prefer it to niqab. So if it is
Ah,
hijab, it's still very much okay.
okay.
Because
Why?
this niqab of a thing, it covers the whole body. Even you won't see the person under. So that's just the problem. But if it doesn't have any effect on the society, then they are free to use it.
Okay, Mr. Amos, I don't know how to strike a balance there. Sorry, you said you don't have a problem with the niqab, but you also think the hijab is for you preferable than the niqab because you don't know the person under. So that are you saying that the niqab does not necessarily affect the society, but it affects you as a person because you don't know who is under the niqab? Is that your point?
Not affecting me as a person, it do affect the society because most people do hide under it to perpetrate evil. You never can tell who is under it. It might even be a man hiding under it. So why I say the hijab is better is because it is so moderate. You can see so the something is so obvious. The person under the hijab, but the niqab you can't even tell who is who under it. So that's just it.
Okay, Barrister, I
Why do
go.
we have to
Barrister
tell it
Akim,
so?
can we
That's
listen
the
to you for
question.
the first 5 minutes before we now start to comment on our presentation? So, Barrister Akim, please, 5 minutes. Is Barrister Akim here? Okay, I think.
Others,
Okay,
and good evening. Yes. Sorry, I think something went wrong. Hello. Hello, everybody.
yes. Hello, 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 hello.
Now, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, sir. We can hear you loud and clearly.
Yes. Thank you for having me once again. Yes, the issue of the niqab, or let me say the hijab, is Niqab is just still part of, it's still hijab, one way or the other. Yes, where do I start? The position of the law is that, as my brother earlier stated, Section 38 protects the right. Are we still together?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we are
hear you.
here.
Are we still
Yeah.
together?
Yes, of course
We
we
can
are.
hear
Yes,
We
you.
as
are.
my brother Allah said, Section 38 protects. Yes, Section 38 protects the right of every Nigerian to follow any religion that he chooses. Then there are issues as to the hijab. The courts, our courts have ruled repeatedly on several occasions that the hijab is a protected right. It's protected under Section 38. So the right of a Muslim woman to wear the hijab is protected. It's a religious right. It's a right that is an elevated right. When we talk about right, when we talk about fundamental, just ordinary rights, trampled up, cannot be trampled upon. Hello.
Yes, we are with you, Barrister Kim, though your network is
Okay. Yes.
going back.
Yes. So the court have held in plethora of cases that fundamental rights are not ordinary rights. They are elevated rights. They are special classes of rights. And no person can be deprived of the enjoyment of any of such rights except by the proper observance of due process of law. And I don't know if I can come again there. That the court have
Yes, you
held
can.
that nobody can be deprived of the enjoyment of church rights that are contained in Part 4 of the Constitution, except by the proper observance of due process. Meaning that before such a right, that your right to life, your right to dignity of person, your right to freedom of speech, your right to freedom of movement, your right to freedom of religion can be trampled, can be restricted, can be limited. It has to go through the process of law. Section 45 of the 1999 Constitution provides these instances in which such rights can be limited. And the rights of religion, for example, can be limited. Section 40, 45 of the Constitution is designed to save laws that are reasonable, justifiable in a democratic society. I want to take that again. I said section 45 of the 1999 Constitution is designed to preserve laws that are reasonable, justifiable in a democratic society. Meaning that for you to limit the right of somebody to wear the hijab, for you to say somebody cannot wear the hijab, it has to be by a law that is reasonable, justifiable in a democratic society. What are the instances? If you read further to section 40, 44, 40, 45, it can that in the interest of public defense, in the interest of public defense, in the interest of public order, public morality, and public health, then in the interest of public defense, public safety, public order, public morality, and public health, the House of Assembly of a state can come up with a law to limit the observance of certain. For example, during the pandemic, they could have passed a law and say, "Oh, nobody should come out from their houses from so and so time for so and so time." So even if, as Muslims, we have to go to the mosques, for example, by zoo and astral period in the afternoon. But there's a law that now says that because of the pandemic, for public safety, they can make a law to stop us from going to mosques because it is because of the circumstances, public health, public order. Maybe there's riots. The government can pass law and make curfew. When there's curfew, you cannot go to the mosque on a Friday or on a Sunday, go to the church to pray. You can't do that. You stay in your house. That is reasonable, justifiable in a democratic society. And also, it has to be in another instance. If you go to 45, 45B there, it says that for the purpose of protecting the right and freedom of other persons, for the purpose of protecting the right and freedom of other persons, your right to religion, your right to life, your right to movement can be limited for the purpose of protecting the right of other persons. Now, to the issue of the hijab and the niqab, there's nothing. Before, there's no school. Even if that school is a Christian university, there's no school that can pass a law to ban the use of hijab. It is illegal, it is null and void. Before hijab, because the court have ruled that hijab is a protected right, it's covered under section 38. So before that right can be limited, it has to be not even a governor can just come out and make a declaration. That was what Fashola did. Then that led to the Abdul Karim's case that now went up to the Court of Appeal. They just came up with the circular stopping the use of hijab in public school. When the matter got to Court of Appeal, Court of Appeal said no, it cannot. You have to follow the procedure set by section 45 of the Constitution, meaning that you have to pass a law. It has to go through the process of making a law. You cannot just come up with a circular. So even if a student of Idausa University at the point a Muslim student applied to study there, and at the point of signing the document that says she follow the rules, she will not wear a hijab, such a document is null and void by our laws, because it's only the act of the National Assembly of the state that can stop the use of hijab. Even if the school is inside the church, you can't even stop the use of the hijab by mere words. You have to go through the process of that. Yes. So there are many instances that I can give. So the right is not something that is waivable. I say I signed and I waive my rights. It's just, for example, you cannot waive your right to live. I cannot go to meet Mr. B and say, okay, Mr. B, kill me. I will sign a document that I allow you to kill me. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Okay. Yeah, well with
Are we
you.
together?
Yes, yes,
I
yes. We're
cannot
here
go
with
to
you.
Mr. I cannot go to Mr. C and say, uh, I've waived my rights. I want you to strip me naked, beat me, and send me away. You understand? I cannot do that. So you cannot waive your rights. Those religion, you cannot waive your rights by assenting to waive it. The only instances in which your rights to life, your life to dignity, your life to religion can be contained is clearly spelled out in the Constitution. Anybody that goes against it is wrong. Whether anybody is not comfortable with the hijab is a non-issue. We cannot the lady that is wearing the hijab cannot be responsible for the security of another person. Insecurity,
Uh,
I mean somebody that is not comfortable with the hijab. Hello, sir.
yeah, Barrister, thank you very much for that presentation. Okay, we have Amos Oluwakayode, I think. Yeah, so he said he's going to join us in a few minutes. Uh, so we have with us Mr. Benjamin Adebisi. Mr. Benjamin Adebisi, good evening to you, and you're welcome
Yeah,
to today's session.
yeah, thank you very much. Good evening.
Yeah,
Good
Mr.
evening,
Benjamin
sirs.
Adebisi is a lecturer at the Osun State University, if I'm right, anatomy, if I'm correct.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
always been here every now and then. So, yeah, Mr. Benjamin, you are a lecturer at a university. So we are discussing should niqab. The niqab is the veil that the Muslim women wear, to cover their faces. So should the niqab be allowed in public institutions? We would like to have your thoughts in 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. And my sincere apologies for coming late. I was having issues with our network, and thank God you were able to put things in place immediately because I had been clicking on the same link that you resent. But thank God you were there for me, and I appreciate the time that we've always been together. I've had a lot to learn. I had broadened my horizon when it comes to public affairs because knowledge is expanding and it's diverse. And one thing I had appreciated the university for, it's the room it has given for diversity. And that's why I had labored my lifelong to be in such an environment because I believe that knowledge shouldn't be closed. So, and the university gives room for openness, for rationality, for expansion of knowledge and exposure. And I grew up in a very polarized background, religious polarized background, where I had Muslims as siblings, as friends, as cousins, that we grew up together. So I never until 2001, September 11, and afterwards Islamophobia, that there's actually any difference, or maybe Christianity and Islam are actually in a war, because when we were growing up during the fasting time or during any form of celebration, we eat together. During Christmas, we eat together, we play around together, and the Muslim fathers that that had my friends as parents were took me as their own son, and the mothers too. So, and most times, even while I was studying for my MSc some over 12 years ago, while I'm going to school, they have a kiosk. They will put, provisions together, Indomie, milk. These were Muslims. So I never had any form of skepticism towards Muslim or what they stand for. I have a Quran, and being a lecturer had given me an opportunity to meet with several people, particularly in this state, which is majorly dominated by Muslims. And from my write up on Facebook, the Muslim family has always been there for me. We had published papers together in Denmark, in America, in France, and I call them my Egmont. And the Muslim parents, some of them have introduced me to their children. So I don't know why I shouldn't respect any stand, not excluding dressing that a particular religion has taken to appear in public. Yes, I understand that European nations, I told you, like, after September 11, there have been several forms of Islamophobia, starting from the names. Sometimes you're applying to an embassy, especially in America, some European nations, and you bear some names that are Arabic or Islamic, and you are being unnecessarily scrutinized. The looks, maybe you're doing um, what do they call that? Suno. Sorry, I'm having an echo. Aha, good.
Okay.
So, and the looks, maybe you are doing Suno and you have some beards, and you get to some places, the way you are treated, you don't like it. And all this I don't like, because number one, I grew up in a religious polarized background, and I've learned to respect people by their decision, the decision of how they look, how they greet, how they dress, how they talk, their accents. And so I should not be an individual that will hate, that will show any form of hatred or prejudice for anyone, based on religious background. And after September 11, 2001, Islamophobia had continued. By the time you see somebody with beard, you say the person is a terrorist. By the time you hear Abdul Karim, you say the person wants to bomb you and all that. So, and I think that was what happened in Spain and some other European nations, that they publicly banned the niqab. In fact, several Muslim women were being harassed in Spain and in their schools that they should not wear. But I see this as a kind of infringement on rights to express oneself, because dressing itself is an expression. Yeah, I have several ways I want to look. So and I think for them to start bringing enacting laws harassing people, especially ladies in town, generating an international uproar, that means women have been appearing that way all the while in those European nations, in Germany, in Spain, in Italy. They've been appearing that way. But since Islamophobia and the link with terrorism, suicide bombing, and that outlook, there have been skepticism and there have been laws that have kind of oppressed the expression, the Islamic expression. And there
Yeah,
was one
Mr.
that happened in
Benjamin.
Nigeria
Okay.
law school. Yes, I am still
Okay.
within 5 minutes. I'm just 5 minutes. So let me just round it up. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I would want because
I'm
Ashraf
getting
keep
to the
going back
point
and
now.
forth,
So
so I want Ashraf to also give us something.
yeah, let me yeah, thank you very much. Let me just round up in 1 minute. So, and there was one that happened in at the Nigeria Law School, where a lady was deprived to enter the hall of the signing in of the lawyers that were called to bar because she was putting on hijab, and that generated controversy. And Al Jazeera came into play, and people. So I sincerely think it's unjust, is not intelligent enough, is not wise to prevent people from expressing themselves, which looks it's one important thing. We understand why people dress or why people put on clothes is to cover nakedness. Aside covering of nakedness, style, religion, expression, ideology is expressed via dressing, and such should be respected. So I see it as a denial of respect to human right, a violation of human right for anybody under any means not to be allowed to express themselves because of the way they appear or because of the way they decide to dress. So it's uncalled for. It's uncalled for. It's absolutely unacceptable. It's more like infringement on human rights to expression, because dressing is a form of expression. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin Adebisi. Okay, so before we move on to the second round, where we probably look at other people's presentation, if there's any need for rebuttal or more clarifications, I think we have Ashraf here with us. He's always been here too. So, uh, Mr. Ashraf, good evening, and you're welcome. Okay, I think Ashraf is on mute. Okay,
Good evening.
can you hear us?
I
Yeah,
hope
good
you can
evening.
hear me like this.
Yes, I can now. So yeah, we are asking the question:
I,
should Niqab be allowed in public institutions? So what's your take?
yeah. I really hope you can hear me because I have to go and climb somewhere so that I will get good
Yes,
network.
we can. Yes, we can. We can.
Um, well, this is an interesting topic, and I'm taking an interest. Okay, and I'm taking an interesting stance because niqab is different from hijab, and there is a reason for that. And I will be speaking according to my own knowledge of it. Uh, the verse that made hijab compulsory is in the Quran, which says that ladies should cover their body, all right, and it's made it compulsory in Islam, and Muslims are supposed to be covered. Yeah, but now in another step, which is another level, then we have niqab. And in Islam, we know that there are levels to things. Yeah, there are levels to things. There are people that are more than being a Muslim, that they, in the sight of God, they have sacrificed so much. And we can categorize that the people using niqab as those people. Now, when these people use niqab, even apart from being bad for some things, apart from being prevented to attend to some things, even as a Muslim, there are some things they will not be able to do. They cannot speak so loud than every other ladies out there. They are much more reserved. Now, what that is telling us logically is that there are some places they cannot be. So, I actually want people to understand that at the background of this discussion, that as somebody that's using a curb, you need to understand where you can be and when you cannot. People that can use a jab can be there, and probably you cannot. Now, I do equate niqab as beard. Now, Muslim having beard. If you don't have beard or you are cutting your beard, there are different argument about it. But I believe that it's not what will lead you to hellfire. And if you don't cover your head, that might be a problem for you when you die. But if you don't cover your face, it's another thing which might not even affect you when you die. But it's like I said, it's another stage of ibadah, which is devotion. So, as a Muslim now, the problem we are having, because when people that I will call extremists in my own definition, not the American definition or something, uh, if they are talking about Nigeria, they will understand that we are not practicing Sharia, right? So, in that case, if you really want to approach issues, then we have to be careful about them. How much right do we have at this point? What is worth fighting for at a particular point, and what is not? You cannot fight now, I mean now, for military men to start having beard, because it is there in their culture that you don't use beard. So if we really want to push that, that's another thing entirely. However, since it is not compulsory, then we need to face what is very compulsory now and win those wars before we go to what is not compulsory. And I am not just saying this to discourage the war against Islamophobia. I'm saying this because the niqab is the heights, it's at a certain height of belief. I mean, you have to get to some points in Islam as a Muslim before you say that, okay, I want to start using niqab. You can't just wake up and say that, oh, my husband said that you're using niqab, then you use niqab. Then the next thing we are seeing that you are
Mr.
twerking
Ashraf.
on a musical video, or you're outside spraying money, or behaving crazily, or something unacceptable, or something unreserved. It is not allowed. So,
Uh, okay.
in
Uh,
environments when people are going to be using niqab, then some things are expected of them. Now, my mom,
Mr.
which
Ashraf, can you hear me?
Mr. Benjamin knows very well, is an HOD in New York. Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Because we don't really have too
okay,
much
I
of
can
time
hear
on our
you.
side. We are 58 minutes gone. That's like an hour, and
Okay, so
yeah, exactly. So I think because I
she's
think
an
the
HOD
people will be
in the
having
university,
Can you hear
and
me, Mr.
she
Ashraf?
do bring up
Hello.
she don't bring up the cases of people smuggling chips. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, please. Okay.
I can
I
hear
think
you.
we are. Yeah, we have
I
spent
think there
almost
is
an hour.
a very big gap
Okay.
in conversation there.
Yeah, I think we should just go to the second and the final round of this discourse. So we've all had presentations. Mala Musa Aliu, Barrister Hakim, Mr. Benjamin Hashraf, Adegboye, Amos, exactly. So now
Yeah.
Amos was supposed to be here, but he said he's going to be back. I think people have questions for him, and they've also probably asked questions for others as well. But I just have a question for Ashraf, and after that, I think anyone can ask anyone questions as well till we get to the end of today's session. So, Mr. Ashraf, there's a question from Degboye. He asked you. He said, Ashraf, tell us where can't Niqabite be? So those who use the niqab, so based on your own argument, so can you please tell us where they can't be? That is number one. And then number two, so how do we differentiate between the injunctions of a religion and then the right given by the law? So if your religious
Where
say
can be
religion says hello.
where it can be is depending on the
No, hold on. No, I just want to round up the question. Hello, hello. Okay. Can Ashraf hear me?
okay.
Think you should allow him to respond to the to that first question, then you put on the second one for him.
Yeah, I can hear
Okay.
you.
So
So there is a big
okay,
gap
Ashraf, please. So
between
where can
hearing
Niqabist
you
be?
and
You should
hearing.
Ashraf, where can't Niqabist be?
Okay, where can the copies be is according to the law. For example, like I was explaining, that as a, as a nurse, it is not allowed for you to cover your face. As a matter of fact, there's a length of gown that you can wear so that it won't be attracting bacteria. So now, if we know that as a principle of nursing, I'm talking about nursing now. I don't know about some other places. If we're talking about that and they give us a reason, then we find a way of getting ahead of that reason and propose for niqab. So it makes more sense that way. However, if there are other, if for example in medicine they said that okay, if the big gown will be attracting bacteria and there's nothing we can do about it, then we should educate our own females. Whether we are going to be having our own school to train them in a way that it will not matter whether they wear something big or not, then it is fine. I'm using nursing as an example because I'm close to a nurse. And another thing is that the niqab has been used for atrocities. A man wearing niqab to exam hall or to female hostel, a female using the niqab to carry expo into the exam hall, textbook into the exam hall, and some other things. Some people start using niqab because probably they are pregnant or all those things, which in a very fair Muslim environment, it won't happen. So that's why I said there's a standard to it. If we really want to fight for niqab, then we should put a standard to it. I think that answers the question.
Oh, okay. So any contribution, anyone has anything to say? It's a free flow.
Uh, I think Mr.
I
Ashraf
have
was
something to say.
skeptical. Now, the moderator, please let me just add one or two things. Before I will continue, I want to commend the maturity of the Christian brothers in the house, because I am really impressed with the responses of the Christians here in the house. In fact, I'm very happy with the way they responded, especially the barrister and some of those who have spoken. This is what will move Nigeria forward. When you are practicing your own faith, try to respect the faith of other people who are not in your own faith. This has been the teachings of the scriptures. And even in the same religion, there are people who have different opinions. So we will not fight because we have different opinions within us. That's why I say, let me first of all clarify this. I know some Christians will be surprised that some Muslims may be against using niqab and some Muslims will be supporting it. Let me tell you the truth. There are Muslims that are even shy of putting on hijab, even Muslim women. You see some of those politicians, you see their wives, because they feel they are rich, they want to claim to be above the law of God, so they can appear anyhow. So it's not a problem to us. if you are not interested in obeying God, what the question we are discussing is, should it be allowed or prohibited? So since you did not say it should be prohibited because you don't have any reason for you to say it should be prohibited, if it is for security reason, that should be number one thing that will make niqab to be prohibited. And that security reason is not even a reason as we speak, as far as Nigeria is concerned. Why? Because I have more than 99
Wow.
reasons. Number one, the most dangerous state today, the most insecure place today in Nigeria is northeast, which is Borno State. And up to today, no any government official is trying to introduce or even talk about banning of this niqab of a thing. Why? Because the niqab is not the challenge, is not the problem of our security, but we refuse to adopt adequate or necessary technological equipment that we needed to use in order to fight the security. If we have the right security equipment, whether with niqab or whatever, even if a criminal want to turn himself like a goat, with the right technology we can be able to trace him and deal with him. Where are you when some people are using onions and put in cocaine and other illicit drugs inside some fruits that people used to take? Some people inject themselves. Will you say you want to ban the sales of onion because some people are using it to transport their
Onions.
illicit? Will you ban the equipment that we needed? Will you say you want to ban the sales because some people are using those things? So it's not a question of security. If it is security, then we have to adopt the right technology to deal with that security issue. But when it comes to this issue of niqab, some people are not serious about their religion and they want to disturb those who are practicing their religion. As far as I'm concerned, banning of niqab or allowing niqab is not even something that we need to come here to discuss. Those who want to go by it should go by it, and they should be allowed to exercise their freedom of choice, because we allowed everybody to practice his freedom. Therefore, those who want to go with the niqab should also be allowed to go with their niqab. I'm even surprised, even some places that are living in peace, waking up in peace, enjoying their businesses in peace, some people are still harassing some sisters because they are wearing niqab. We in the
Yes.
northwest or in the northeast or in some places, probably in the southeast, where there are security challenges, nobody is even talking about it. But some places that are enjoying peace, that is where some people are using this issue of unnecessary security threat to threaten the sisters because they want to use niqab. Please, people should understand this and allow peace to ring in our land. Thank you very much for giving me the chance.
Thank you very much, Malam Musa Ali. Okay, so is there any contribution from any other person? Okay, Barrister K.
Can I ask
Okay,
something, please?
yes,
Yeah.
please.
I want to ask something if you permit me.
Okay, please, yes, do.
Hello, sir.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
I can go
please, yes,
ahead.
please. Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, good. See, the first thing here is that it's not a how we feel personally about the hijab, the niqab. It's not an issue yet because for me, for example, my wife wears the hijab, doesn't wear the niqab. So if that is true, it means I don't believe that the niqab is compulsory. But I recognize that there are people who are of the opinion that it is compulsory on them to wear the niqab. Our feeling does not matter. How we perceive the niqab thing, whether compulsory or not, or the weakness of our sisters that wear the niqab, is inconsequential on this issue. The only thing that matters is that what the sister feel. If they feel wearing the hijab that the hijab is compulsory on them, then you cannot ban the hijab. You cannot say an hijabi cannot the niqab.
Okay, so I think our speakers are battling network. Okay, so I'm also on the phone with Mr. Bednar Davisi, who seems to be battling network issues as well. Okay, so okay, bye, Star Kim. Okay, that we got you.
Now, so I said, so if the issue, like our brother stated, if the issue is security, if there's a security issue, let us know. Let the National Assembly of States, the states, pass a law to curb the use of hijab. It's not clear for a university or an institution to wake up one morning and say hijab is a security risk. Security risk how? What are the instances that it now constitutes a security risk? Even if you have instances where somebody on the court commits a crime, so what? So what? It doesn't mean anything. People that wear the niqab, they are not saints. Nobody have ever said that they are saints. You find somebody that wears the niqab and still commit sin. Just as you have people that don't wear the niqab committing sin. So it's not an issue that we're not talking about. We start saying that okay, someone that wears the niqab is not expected to be here at a particular. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's not of our business. If somebody that wears the hijab niqab, he feels that the niqab is compulsory on her, and tomorrow we find her inside a club dancing. How is that an issue? Where? How is that? That's our business. That is our business. But the issue now is that you cannot ask her to remove the niqab just because you are not comfortable with it. This is the law. This is the law of the land. It's not supposed to be debating what is our law. When somebody steals, the person is arrested and charged for stealing. When somebody wears the hijab, there's no law that says you arrest that person. There's no law that says that the person cannot wear the hijab to a particular place. There's no law in the country that says a niqabi cannot enter somewhere. So why will somebody just wake up in the morning and say you cannot wear the niqab somewhere? This kind of behavior is something that should not be allowed. This is why this country is like this, where people will just take laws into their hands and do what they like and say what they like. This is the problem we have with the country, and it's unacceptable. The niqab, for those who want to wear the niqab, there's no law. I want to be very clear on it. There's no law anywhere in the country that says that a niqabi, someone cannot wear the niqab to do anything in this country. If there's such rules exist, the law is null and void. That is the issue here. Our feelings concerning that is inconsequential. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister Kim. Okay. We also said. Okay. So there's a statement from Musa Aliu. He said criminals operate freely today without even wearing a niqab. Let's think deeply. I think he was making reference to what was it called? Mr. Ashraf said. So we have this is an hour past. So does Ashraf have any closing remarks before we end this session?
Okay. Good day. I think well, it is even more interesting that I'm here because if not, if everybody just faces it one direction, then we might not consider some things. Like I said, that I, I I don't think the war for niqab is the same thing as the war for hijab. For me, I will go anywhere to fight for hijab. But when it comes to niqab, what I will do to slow down and see the situation, and you give me a reason why, because this is identity we are talking about. Does it really matter if you need to see the face of the person to interact with the person? Does it really matter? If it doesn't, then we are good to go. But if it does, then we'll probably find a way around it. So what I'm just proposing is that when it comes to Niqab, uh, the way we should approach it should be different, and we should ask some question. Like I said, when for somebody like my mom, there is because I actually expect her that when it comes to Muslims, then she must be in support, and that is what is expected of her, and she knows. However, in the I did not mention anything about security, so I don't think I should be answering to that. But I'm talking about what I know, what I
What the
I'm not
reality
even
that you're
guessing.
exposed to.
Yes, yes. Now, if a lady, who is a Muslim, which we know that can happen, niqab or not, is doing that, it will be an insult not only on her, but on my mom and every other Muslim that is experiencing that as a lecturer or in any other field. So, if we Muslims want to approach that, then the sensitivity of the matter is what we should look at. If somebody is exposing her face and she's using a hijab, we know there is identity on that person. The person covering the cup. For example, my own Afa that taught me in Ilekeo, I can't recognize her again because she's on niqab. So she's lost forever to me until she called me Ashraf. How are you? I'm your Afa. So identity is a big thing. So if we just can't fight the two the same way, what I'm just saying is that when we are approaching this as Muslim, just like I've mentioned, we should know the sensitivity. So that's my submission.
Thank you very much. Barrister Kim, do you have anything to say either to that or anything as a closing remark? So we call this session now.
Identity is a big thing. How and why? You don't understand why is identity so much of a big thing? If somebody wants to be identified, we don't go about identifying everybody that walks past us every day. If you are going into a security area, if there's a need for you to identify yourself, there should be provision for that. There should be somewhere they can go and do search if it's necessary. You identify yourself with an ID card. Understand? Just seeing the face, I don't see how it helps in security or anything. If there's a requirement, if there's a reason for them to search to confirm the identity of somebody, there should be provision for that. Understand? If, for example, I want to enter into some buildings, they will have to search me, who has my face open, or 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 they take me aside. If they want to do thorough search, they will take. If you are traveling, there's some airports you enter, and sometimes they have to strip. It has not happened to me, but there are some places that have said that you have to. They'll strip you down completely and search you thoroughly because there's need for it at that particular time. But somebody entering into an institution to study, probably a student, why the ulabalu, why what do you need to be able to identify her at every point? And the issue here, my brother may not be getting it, is that I said it earlier. It's not how you feel about it does not matter. How I feel about the sisters on the curb is inconsequential. What matters is what does it say with regards to our sisters using the hijab. The court of appeal, it's not just one cases. There are more than 6 cases. In Abu Karim's case and Lagos State, Court of Appeal, it was a full panel. Majority of the panel members were Christians. They could have decided to rule against the use of hijab, but it was a unanimous decision. They all ruled one way. And the issue of the separation between the hijab and the niqab, there's not much separation there. It's the same thing. In as much as the sister feels that the niqab is compulsory on her, that is the only condition. Once that sister feels that the niqab is compulsory on her, the rule that applies in all those hijab cases applies to the niqab. Once the sister feels that it is compulsory on her, and of the four school of thought, the major four school of thought, two of them are of the opinion that hijab niqab is compulsory. There are many, so it's not something that we should be debating, especially among us Muslims. It's a settled matter. We cannot be creating issues that have been settled. It long be settled. that there are differences of opinion on the matter. Some are of opinion that it is compulsory, some are of the opinion that it's compulsory. I am from the opinion that it is not compulsory. I know a lot of scholars that have said it is compulsory. And we want to respect them. Just okay, let us just assume that the persons we are dealing with a religion other than Muslims. Hmm? Let us assume that there's another religion now that prescribe a dress code that says they have to cover their face. Are we going to propagate against them? Are we going to campaign against them? Are we going to stop them from doing what their religion has prescribed on them? Just assuming that there's another religion that says their followers should cover their face, or like the white garment people that say that people should wear the white garment and go barefooted. And somebody says, no, you cannot do that. Why? You see, if you look at that section 40 very well, you see this, it said that when somebody else's right is affected, it's a condition in which you can limit your right. Somebody says his right. When somebody, for example, somebody, a thief goes to steal somebody belonging to another person and is running, and the only way you can stop the person is to shoot and arm the person. Then you can do it. Or
Hmm.
there are so many instances you can do. You can stop when somebody your right ends. The law is that your right ends when somebody else's right starts. So the right to wear niqab ends when? That's issues that we should be asking ourselves. It ends where? Does it affect your rights? The right to wear the hijab, does it affect your right, Mr. Ashraf? Or does it affect the rights of any other person? If it doesn't affect the rights, your rights or the right of any other person, then you cannot say the person cannot wear the hijab. Even
Does
if the government passes a law,
Ashraf wants to respond?
No, no, no. Go on, go on, go on.
Okay, okay.
no, yes.
Barrister, please go on.
Yes, even if the government goes on to pass a law and says that the hijab in Edo State, no Muslim students can wear the hijab to school, that law will be invalid, except the government can source the reason why that law should stand, being that public health, public safety, public whatever. Those are the reasons. Except they can give one of those reasons, then church law can be valid. Otherwise, it is not valid. So even if you pass a law, the law will still be subject to the constitution. Every law we have in our land is subject to that constitution, and the constitution is very clear as to section 38. If you want to limit the right of 38, this is what you should do. It's not possible now be debating if somebody should wear it, somebody should not wear it. Is there a reason, according to section 45, that we make us consider banning the niqab or the hijab? These are the questions. When there's nothing there, why are we creating issues there? So for me, of the law, the hijab is as valid as the niqab is as valid as the hijab. It's the same thing. There's no difference. So if the hijab can stand, the niqab can stand. If you want to ban anyone, you have to follow the due process. Show us the reason and go to court. And go to the National House of Assembly or the State House of Assembly and pass a law. That's the only time you can ban the hijab or the niqab. Otherwise, it stands. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Hakim. Okay, so it's been about an hour and 30 minutes, and we have successfully discussed whether the niqab should be allowed in public institutions or not. So we have learned from yeah, we have learned different opinions and perspectives. So there are people who believe that well it should, because of course as it stands it is their fundamental human right according to the Nigerian constitution, while others like Amos think that the hijab for him is good, though it doesn't really mind the niqab, but he, though a Christian, prefers the hijab because you can see the one who is wearing the hijab. Also, we had Mr. Bedna Debisi, a university lecturer, a Christian as well, who really doesn't have anything against the use of the niqab in public institutions. And we had Mr. Ashraf Adeyemo who said, well, the niqab of the Muslim uh, woman, if I'm right, should be kind of more of a personal affair because she's going to a higher level in religion, which even if she were to follow those religious principles that she's adhering to, that she doesn't really have to be in some places, for example, like working as a nurse. Also, along the line, we try to balance between someone's convictions or someone's people exercising their volition and also what the law has said. So we try to check that if a woman decides to elevate herself in matters of her religion as being a Muslim, and are we the one to dictate for her where she should be or where she should not be, especially if the law has not said otherwise. So I think Barrister Akim also made some statements on that. So I think it's time that we call off this session. So if anyone has nothing to add to everything we said so far, can we please call it a night?
I have something to add, and the barrister spoke well, and that's not the first time I will speak to lawyers about this, and they do support you. I mean, lawyers are very cool, and I like the energy on that because that means that anytime we have problem, we have Muslims or individuals that are going to support them. However, I raised an issue, and the issue is still there, and it will still be a kind of problem. However, I hope in the future we are able to solve them. If my daughter is using a niqab, she's using an hijab. She is using an hijab. I know I'll go anywhere to, you know, make sure she gets her breakthrough. However, I did not say that nursing should not have niqabites with them because it is even annoying if your wife or daughter is using niqab and is being treated by a male, not to talk of a female that's not using niqab. So we need niqabites in nursing. It's just that we just have to sit down around and make sure that we give them, they are special. If you are using niqab, like the lawyer said that the identity or no identity, I don't agree with that. Identity is a big deal. If I can see your face, it makes a lot of difference than if I can't see your face. Even though it is what I'm getting from you that matters, and I agree with that. But when it comes to seeing the face, you can read people's face and know how they feel about you. But if you don't care, that's another problem. So
Mr. Ashraf, I have
we
a question, please.
okay.
Okay, now the question I want to ask is now following your argument, if you are to be in the midst of lawmakers and you have a say, you understand, and then the discussion is should we allow niqab in public institutions or not? Would you say that giving your own opinion about the woman who is covering, who is using the niqab, and because she's special and there are some places she should not be. So would you, in line with your opinion, now say that, well, let's make a law that these women should not be in so places that you think they shouldn't be? Or
Well,
would you let them pass or would you let them pass a law that gives them the right to be wherever they want to be and they can at their own discretion say, okay, I want to be here or I don't want to be here. So what would you say to that, Mr. Ashraf?
well, I think one point that I've been making is is it the peculiarity, the uniqueness of niqab, which is covering the identity. I will mention that again. If that is not going to give anybody problem, then there is no problem. Your question is that will I allow it? Of course, I will allow it. Then as a Muslim, I have to gather my community and tell them that okay, our children are going out and they'll be using the cup. This must never be used to cause any form of problem, because if it does, then people will start blaming us for it, because we are living in the midst of people that do not have the same belief as we do. So, which make it different from the time of prophet where Islam is ruling actually. So, if anything comes out of it, then it becomes everybody's problem. So, your answer is I will accept it, but I will call the community back and tell them and warn them this is the peculiarity and nothing bad must happen. I think what we just need to do is a little bit of study how really hijab and communication affects how we interact in the society with people that are not even Muslim in a society that is not based on Sharia. So when we
Uh,
understand, I think move on.
Mr. Asher,
That's
okay,
my
okay.
yep.
Can we, sorry, can we for a second just talk about, let us create a hypothetical situation, okay? A
Okay.
situation where the government says, now, you Muslim women, you can use the niqab anywhere you want. It is permissible. So are you saying that if you are to be a community leader or if you are an influential public figure in the Muslim community, so even though the government has allowed that, you would now say, okay, my fellow women in Islam, my women in Islam, please, I don't want you to go here and here, even though the constitution has given them the right. Because I'm trying to unravel the paradox that you seem to be putting us in.
Well, you call it a paradox, probably a bit of confusion, but you should be clear about some things that I mentioned. Number one is that in a situation like in nothing, where we have more women, and in education, people have used the jab to commit some crimes. Now, this is not about putting bomb inside you and exploding yourself. This is kind of unique crime that it can only be committed using niqab. I think you get that. Only
Okay,
can be committed. Some people can stuff things in inside some other places, but you cannot appear as a woman when you are a man, except you are covering your face. So that's what I'm talking about. So now, if that is going to happen, I'm not going to stand up and say that no, we don't want it just because of those experiences. We are going to work on those experiences so that it will not happen again. Because anytime it happens, it is damaging our reputation, and we don't want that. But do you want that? You don't want that. So it's because you are not the HOD. If you are the HOD and you are putting on your cap, you have your beard, and somebody is telling you that like that's and this is what they did. You will feel very bad for them for that. So we don't want that to happen. Not once would we want that to happen. So is it not call for a concern to move back sometimes and make sure that in a situation where identity is important or some other things are important, we'll make sure we have a unusual law or a unique set of guidelines for people that are using the cup. That is my point. I'm not for or against. I mean, I'm not against. I am for, but for
okay,
recommendations.
but as much as you are for, as much as you are for, you still think, regardless of whether the constitution allows them or not, we should be able, Muslims should be able to speak to their women in a cup and tell them that there are some things that they should avoid, or there are some places that they should place restriction that the constitution does not place on them. They should place it on themselves. I am trying to understand your points clearly, especially for the sake of the public.
Well, if, if that is how you see it, if that is what you think is going to solve the problem that I mentioned, then so be it.
Okay.
Like I
Okay. All
said,
right.
a niqab is another level in Islam. And whether you like it or not, there are places you can't be that random women can be.
Hmm.
Okay, all right.
Okay. We sorry. Okay, we have Ego is back. Let me just know if he probably just has anything he wants to say before we call it a night. Okay, so he's trying to connect to
Hello.
his Okay, yeah. Okay, fine. So okay, he's here. Let's see. He's trying to okay, Barrister Ego is back. All right, Akim. Okay. So do you have anything more to say, Barrister Akim?
I have something to say, but I think I've when he said when the thing went off, I just forgot. So you can continue. There's anything to
All
say.
right. Okay, I think this is 1 hour 35 minutes, and so I think we should just call it a
No,
night and
okay, wait. I
end the
think I,
session.
I remember what I wanted to ask him a question. Sorry. He said
Okay,
there are
okay.
crimes that are peculiar to the niqab, people using the niqab. I wanted to ask him which crime.
It's nice meeting him anyway.
No, no, no. It's yeah. He asked you a question. Ashraf, you have a question. It's asking you a
Yeah,
question.
I want to ask again, sir. I said you said there are crimes that are peculiar to
Salam.
women using the niqab. Can you hear me, sir?
I don't think Ashraf can hear you. Can okay, Ashraf can't hear you. Okay, so I think he's gone. So okay, so probably use the comment section because it's live on Facebook as well as on YouTube. Thank you very much, Barrister Igo Hakim Owojeri. You are really, really appreciated, and we hope to see you again on the Open Space discourse. Thank you very much and have a good night. So, special thanks to everyone that contributed to this session. This is the Open Space discourse where we have intellectual discussions on controversial topics. I am Bashir Kasamsi Lukman. Thank you all.